Welcome to Pachyderm. This is going to be a brief demonstration of how to use the Pachyderm authoring system for Sarah Flohr's class. And I'm going to go through the steps that you need to take to help you orient you to using this tool. The screen you're seeing here is once you've logged in. So I already did the login process, and you can get your login from your instructor. Once you log in, you'll be presented with this screen, and you can start making a presentation, or you can start uploading media. And usually the first thing you want to do is upload your media so you have something to work with. So I'll click on this, and this takes me to the media search screen, which also has these buttons for uploading media. You can either upload a single file at a time, or you can upload more than one file at once. So I'm going to do a single file upload, and that takes me to this screen, and there's some information here about what types of files are permitted. You want to make sure, so we have GIFs and JPEGs and PNG files, and you want to make sure, and for videos, which your class probably isn't using videos, but you might, flash files, which are FLVs, and QuickTime files, which are MOVs, and then if you have any audio files, they would be MP3. Using the correct file types and making sure that the files that you upload have the proper extension on them is critical. If you use an unsupported file, or if you upload a file that does not have the proper extension on it, Pachyderm won't know what to do with it, and you will have problems. So once you have the files and you've made sure that the files have their proper extensions on them, you want to choose the file from the disk from your computer. So you click on the Choose File button. This brings up your file system, and I have a bunch of files here as samples, so I'm just going to upload this red background. And I can give it a file name, or if I don't do that, it will use the file name that it has already. So I click Next, and this gives me the next screen gives me an opportunity to enter a bunch of information about this file. And the only thing you might want to do, because in this class you're reusing accounts that have been used before, and some of the accounts have a lot of media in them already, is you might want to put in the keyword field, you might want to put your name in. Like I'm going to put Lou because that's my name. And that way if I do a search for Lou, I'll be able to find my media very quickly. So then I click Done. And so that file's been uploaded. So if I did a search now of the media, notice that there's already a lot of media in this particular account. That was the problem that I was saying before, that there might already be media in this account. I can put in Lou and hit search, and here's my gradient. Now it's interesting to see that other files also were found with the search term Lou, so I might want to use a more extensive search term. So let's try that again. Let's upload some more media. This time I'll use the multi-file import. And this is nice if you have more than one file you want to import at a time. And sometimes the multi-file import has been more reliable than the single file. So if you're having trouble with the single file import, try the multi-file import. So here you click a thing and you pick a file. And then you click another one and you can pick another file. I'll do a blue, and I'll do one more. So pick another file and we'll do yellow. And you can do up to 5. And then I'm going to do next. And so this now allows me to enter information for the files that I'm uploading. And there are two screens to this information for multi-file uploads. This screen allows you to enter information that would be shared by every one of the files that you upload. The next screen lets you put in information for the individual files. So I'm going to, down here in the keywords area, just like I did before, so I can pull my files out, I'm going to put LZ Perez. Nothing else is going to have that as a key. So LZ are my initials and Perez is for my presentation. So that's going to be assigned to every piece of media that I've said I want to upload in this particular upload. Click Next. And here's where I can enter stuff for the individual files, which I don't need to do. It shows me each of the files that I'm uploading, which is great. And it actually shows me that LZ Pres is on each of these. That's good too. And then I'll click All. And so now those have been uploaded. So now if I type in LZ Pres, and let me try that again. Search for LZ Pres. That's interesting. Let's just try LZ. Okay, so there are my three. So I'm not sure why it didn't take the Pres part, but in other words, I used my initials to just filter out the stuff that I didn't, that is mine. And if I didn't do that, like if I just did a broad search, right, then you could find them this way too. But it's much more efficient particularly if there are a lot of files in my account. And like I said, these accounts have been used before, so in many of them there are a lot of media. So by using LZ, I can just find the media that I uploaded. Okay, so that's uploading media, and I know you're doing weekly projects, so you have at least one piece of media you'll be uploading each week, and maybe more than that. And so now you know how to do that. So once you have your media uploaded, you're ready to start your presentation. Click the presentations link, and in this account there are no presentations currently. So we'll click New to start a new presentation, and I will call this Lou Zweier Portfolio, because that's what I'm going to call it. And click Next. And then the next thing is you have to pick a template that you want to start using. And Pachyderm presentations are made up of templates, one or more templates, and the templates structure the information in your presentation, so you don't have to figure out how it's going to be organized or designed. You just fill in the template. And most people in the past in this class have used the slider template for their presentation. It's got the slider points along the bottom and a place for a graphic and a place for text. So I will click the slider template. The zoom template is the other one that gets used typically. And once you select the template, now you're into authoring this template that you've put into your presentation. And on the left here is what's called the legend for this template. So it shows you what the template is going to look like, what the screen's going to look like. It's got a title and a subtitle, and then an image area, and then a text area. And in this image area you can have a still image or a movie or a link to another screen and a caption. Actually, you can have it's and all these things, not or all these things. It's and all these things. And then there's a title for all this stuff. And on the slider screen, for each one of these dots, you've got all of these different items. So for slider 1, you have a title for it, and you can have an image and a movie and a link and a caption and text. And then for slider 2, the same thing, an image and so forth. And so then you can move from content to content by clicking on the different slider points. So this just gives you a visual reference for what you're filling out over here on the right. So for instance, A, which is the title and subtitle, that's A here, which is the title and subtitle, and you fill them in. So I'm going to start by giving this screen a name, which is, I'm going to call it my home screen, because it's the screen that starts the presentation. You can call it whatever you want though. And now I'm going to put in a title for my presentation that will appear up here, and I'm going to put a subtitle. And then the B item is the background. So B is an image that if you wanted to color the background, you could put an image in B. I'm not going to do that. And then the C is this first slider item. So I'll put a title like week 1. And I will put an image. So again, I'm going to do LZ and find my images. Here we are. So this is my image for week 1. Now, something that's a little annoying is that when you go and you pick a piece of media, it returns this thing to the top and you have to scroll down again. And I apologize for that. We are working to fix that, make it so that doesn't happen. But right now that's the way it is. So you're going to be doing a lot of scrolling down. But you can see here in week 1, you've got this image assigned. There's no movie assigned, but you could do one if you want to do a movie. Usually that typically hasn't been part of what we're doing. Screen link, and this is where you link in the Zoom screen. That's a close-up of this item, but the Zoom screen isn't created yet, so we can't link it in. And then the slider image caption. So that's the caption that goes right underneath this. So the caption might be the name of this work. I don't know. You can put whatever you want, like yellow. And now I'm getting curious. I want to see what it looks like. So I'm going to go down here and preview the screen. And Pachyderm now is showing me what I've got so far. So my title, my subtitle, my image, and my first slider that says week 1, and my caption that I've entered. I haven't entered any text over here in the main area. And I haven't put in a link for the link to the Zoom screen to see a close-up of this. So let's continue. So again, here we are with week 1 and the yellow, and we've got our caption, and then this is the main text area where I might say, this work was created, and you describe whatever it is that you need to do there. And then let's preview it again. We'll save it and preview it and see. Okay, yeah, my text is in there. That's good. So now I've got all my first week done, but I want to get the Zoom screen in there with the detail of this picture. So I need to finish this. I'm going to say save and done. And now I'm done editing the slider screen for now. And here I'm back in my inside my presentation, and I can see I've only got one screen. So I need to add another screen, which is a Zoom screen. So I go up here to add screen to presentation, and I click that, and it gives me this list of screens again. We've seen this before. And if we go down and see the slider, the Zoom, here's the Zoom screen, which is, for showing a close-up of something. We click that, and now we're editing the Zoom screen. And just like the other one, it has a legend over here that shows A is the image it's going to be shown, B is the text content, C, you can have a link on this screen as well if you wanted to link to somewhere. And you can also put audio in on this screen. Typically, students haven't been doing that, but if you wanted to record some audio that was a description, you could do that too. So let's start authoring this screen. I'll put the name in, and I'll call it Week 1 Zoom. And the names of the screens are important because when you go to link the screens together, you can identify the screen by its name. If you don't give it a name and it's just untitled, then you may have difficulty figuring out which screen to link in. So now I'll click this, and I still have my search results here, so I'll just assign the yellow again, because that's what we're trying to do, is a close-up of the yellow piece. And then here's some text. This is more about this work and how I create it. So this is whatever text you want to put in here, describing your work. We don't have a screen link that we want to put in, and we don't have an audio file. So I think we're pretty good here. We should save it and preview it. And again, this will show us what our Zoom screen is going to look like. Here's a close-up of it, and you can zoom, which on just this yellow square doesn't have a whole lot of meaning. And then if you click here, you can see the text. That's all looking good. So we're done with the preview. And so now we can save this and done, save and done. And now you can see we have two screens in our presentation. Here's the Zoom that we just created, and our original slider that's our home screen. And so now what we want to do is link the Zoom screen into week 1 on the slider. Remember, there was a screen link there. So we'll click that to edit. We're back into editing on the slider now. We go down to week 1, and here's the screen link. So we do browse to see what screens we could link. This gives us a list of all of our screens, and we'll go to the Zoom screen. And if we scroll back down, we can see here it is. Week 1 Zoom is linked in there. And we can do a save and a preview to see how that's looking. Now we see we have a little icon there for the screen link, and if you click on it, it will not show you the Zoom. So this is one of the differences between previewing and actually publishing your presentation. Is a preview will only show you, let me go back to that. A preview will only show you what is on that screen. It won't show you links to other screens. They aren't actually operating. But when you publish the presentation, of course, when you link there, it will show it to you. So let's publish this. It's looking pretty good. We'll do save and done. Now to publish your presentation, you go up here to this button and you click on it, and that takes you to the publish screen. It gives you a list of the screens that are in your presentation down here, and you click the publish button, and this actually published very rapidly. Usually the more screens you have and the more media you have, the longer it will take to publish your presentation. In the beginning, obviously it goes very quickly because you don't have a lot. Let's view the presentation, and here is the published presentation. You've got your picture, you've got your text, you got week 1, and here's your link to your Zoom screen. That's showing very nicely. It zooms and it's got the text. And then we can go back, and that's all looking very good. So that opened in a new window. The published presentation opens in a new window. So I'm going to close that. And now we can go back to editing our presentation. So let's add week 2. We'll do that kind of quickly. So just so you see how that get reinforced, how that authoring process works. We're going to go back into the slider screen. I'm going to scroll down to past week 1. Here we are. This is D, which is the next slider point, and we're going to say week 2. And I'm going to pick I'll say blue this time. And of course I have to scroll down again. It puts the scroll back to the top. Sorry about that. That's annoying. So here we are with the blue rectangle, and we have captioned enter and slider text for this artwork. And we do save, and we can do preview. So now we've got 2 slider points, week 1 and week 2. And if we click week 2, we see the blue rectangle with its caption and its text. We can go back to week 1, week 2. Notice that week 1 has the Zoom screen attached, but week 2 doesn't. So we need to create a Zoom screen for that and then link it in. So we need to say done on editing this. And then we need to create another Zoom screen here. So let's add a screen to the presentation and go down here and make it a Zoom screen. And now we're editing that Zoom screen, and we need to assign the image, which we click browse. And again, we still have our search results here from before. If we didn't, we would just we would do our little LZ search, and there's our stuff, and we click blue. So now the blue thing has been assigned, and if we have more text, we put the text in, and we don't have any other elements that we want to fill in for this, so we do a preview of it, and that's looking good. Text is in there. Okay, so we can say we're done with that. And now we've got, oh, I didn't put a title in. See how this is week 1 and this is unknown? So that makes it unsure. So I'm going to go back in to edit that, and I'm going to put a title in. This is why it's important to title your screens. So do save and done. See, now it says week 2. And now I'm going to go back into the slider screen, and go down to the second slider point, which is D, and go down to the screen link part of it and say browse my screens, and here they are now, the home screen, week 1, week 2, and I want, this is slider point 2, so I want it to go to week 2 of my Zoom screens. And now I can do save, and I could preview to see how it's going. And now this has got a link, and this one also has a link. So that's looking pretty good. So let's say we're done, and let's publish again. Notice that publishing has 3 screens now. And wow, that published fast again. So I guess there is not much load on the server now. When lots of people are using the server, it also takes longer to publish. So let's view our publication. And here's week 1. Here's week 2. So that's all working pretty good. Now sometimes every once in a while, you can make a change in your presentation and republish it. And when you look at it to view the published presentation, you don't see your changes. And that's because sometimes it usually happens if you're doing it very quickly. If you're making rapid changes, the browser holds on to a copy of the presentation in its cache, in its browser cache. And when you click the View Presentation link, this one, the browser opens the image that's in the version that's in the cache. And it'll look like, oh, your changes didn't happen. If you're seeing that happen, what you want to do is empty your browser cache, which is, I'm on Safari, which is a Mac browser, and it's under the Safari menu that you have the empty cache choice. And you do that, and sometimes I do it twice just to make sure that it gets emptied, and then the problem of not seeing the changes would go away. If you're using Firefox, I believe it's under the clear data. I think it's called clear data, and it's under the tools menu. And if you're using Chrome, it's similar, and I'm not sure where it is on IE. So you get some help from someone that knows IE, how to empty the browser cache. So that is something you might need to do occasionally. The other thing you should do periodically when you are done working on let's say your presentation for a given session, is you should do this download zip file of the presentation. When you click this, it downloads a copy of the presentation to your local machine. It's a copy of the published presentation, and it serves as a little bit of a backup of your work. If something were to happen, at least you have your presentation up to that point. Okay, so that basically is the basics of authoring in Pachyderm. Good luck, and if you have problems, send email to pachyderm-admin@cdl.edu.